I bought a bike. And I've been meaning to do that for quite some time. I'm sure I talked to you guys how, I've run for I don't know how many years. Not a natural runner by any stretch. Done a bunch of marathons, ultra marathons, and I've always wanted to get on a bike and go ride. And so my kids recently started really wanting to ride bikes. And so we got my youngest son his first bike. We got my daughter a new bike. And so my oldest son, he's got a bike. So I'm like, all right, perfect excuse. And so we did like a family bike ride yesterday. I got to get my wife a bike because she doesn't have one. So that's the next step. And then we do family bike rides. And it was really cool yesterday. And I had a lot of fun out there with the family. And it's like, man, I could get used to this. Like at night after dinner, hey, let's all go for a bike ride. And then this morning, was able to get up and was doing some work, some study before market open, and was pretty early, hopped on my bike and went out and did a ride. So I got a little workout in, about 8 miles, and it felt good trekking up those hills and getting the blood moving and just doing something different from running, because that's what I'm used to. So still running, still lifting, but just throwing the bike in the mix, something different. So anyway, yeah, that's one of the things that I love most about this lifestyle, the freedom that trading gives me, is just the flexibility to go do those things. Like before, as principal, I could go for a bike ride or go for a run. I used to do that, go get big runs in before work, but then I'd have to like hustle to make sure I was there on time. Now it's like I just got that space to do as I see fit, which is really nice. So I'm grateful for that. I appreciate that very much, and I don't lose sight of that blessing for sure. So markets popping today, man. 40 points up on the SPX as of the time I got my vehicle here to go pick up my daughter, and things are running. And it was an interesting open. We got a little bit of selling to start when the market opened. A trade deal was announced with Japan, so there was a little bit of a pop there. But then there was a report about some tension between the EU and the US, which I think some news came out later today that's kind of been massaged and smoothed over. And then we had the AI plan released by the White House, and that had some positive impacts on things. And earnings have been decent up until this point, so really things have been bullish. Still yet, there's still room left in this run. Again, not to say that a pullback is not needed or we're in that territory, because it is. But we're going higher. And the big thing today, and depending on when you're watching this, it'll already have come and gone, is we get Google earnings and we get Tesla earnings. Google and Tesla earnings are going to have a big impact in terms of what's going to happen, and that's really going to determine where we're going to go, at least for the rest of this week, because next week we have a hell of a lot more earnings coming in from the Mag 7. But Google and Tesla are going to provide a bump or a dip, and more than likely they're not going to run both of them up. They're just going to run one of them up. They'll probably drop the other one. And just looking at that, if you watch the preview videos that I did on earnings, I'm guessing, if I'm looking, that Google is going to be the one that they tap this time to push up. They're getting ready to create a golden cross on the daily. That 50 is about to cross through that 200. And it's pulled back a little bit today, so there could be an opportunity there on Google. And if you take a look at Tesla, I mean, really, it's had pretty solid earnings reports the last few times that it has shared results. So it's hard to see Tesla moving higher, but like I talked about before, it does what you least expect. Everybody's anticipating a piss poor report because of the vehicles. The only thing that's going to save it is fast tracking Optimus robots, fast tracking robo-taxi. So waiting to see that. But either way, we'll get a lift from the market from them. And honestly, if Google reports well, then I think that that's going to provide a greater bump to the market than would a Tesla. The flip side of that, though, is if Optimus is coming along, if robo-taxi is coming along, and they're speeding up the process to when they're going to be deployed and released into the market, or robo-taxis moving faster along from the launch in Austin, then that could lift the markets as well. So really critical reports. Like I said, by the time you're watching this, we're probably seeing that. So it's going to be exciting to trade the next day. That's for sure. Thursday is going to be a heck of a lot of fun. But yeah, some of the other tickers that we're seeing a little bit of a pullback on, Robinhood, Coinbase, those reversal candles that came in at all-time highs there, those dojis reflecting some indecision up there at resistance. We're seeing that kind of play out. We're seeing Bitcoin taking a bit of a breather, a bit of a rest. So, but we're also seeing the baton getting passed to some of the smaller cap stocks. One of the interesting things, I'm driving safely, but Tesla applied corrective auto steer right there. That's that beat that you've heard in a couple of videos now. Anyway, one of the things that I noticed this morning is the QQQ was selling down, big tech, and the IWM was running higher. So evidence of a rotation. And then we also saw some other smaller stocks. Man, people are driving like crazy today. Somebody just stopped dead in the middle of the road. That was almost treacherous. But we did see a little bit of a pop in healthcare stocks, and a ticker that I really just started early this week, accumulating some shares in to hold short term. I didn't have to hold them very long. Was HIMS. I think I talked about this on a previous episode. We got a nice big pump on that one, so I unloaded those shares today just because it was a nice run, and I was going to hold it for a chunk of time, but sometimes you just got to strike while the iron is hot. And I also wanted to mention too, yesterday's video I talked about how those coin puts that I bought were losing, and coin was up pre-market, but then it just dumped yesterday. So what I thought was going to be a loser ended up being a winner. And that's something that I noticed too, is sometimes things will get run up pre-market and then they'll dump it right when the market opens. That's what happened with Coinbase. So I had accepted the loss in my head when I recorded yesterday's video. I was like, yeah, that's it, whatever. But to my pleasant surprise, that ended up being a W. So thanks to those coin puts for working out. I was rather elated about that. So yeah, here's my thoughts today. Again, I think Google gets a pop here on earnings. I'm going to be watching that. We'll talk about those reports tomorrow. And I'll definitely be getting another bike ride in with the kids. But I'll spare you the details on that because that's not going to be as fun as Google or Tesla earnings. So, but anyway, guys, I love you. Thank you for checking out the channel. And let me know. I haven't recorded, like I was hammering the shorts there for a while, like 10 to 20 a day. I haven't really done shorts. Do you miss the shorts? Do you want them to come back? Or do you just like the long form content. Let me know. I'd like to hear in the comments. Make it a great day. Take care, everyone.